The fastest way to never get what you want is to never ask for it. And strangely, most people don't lose because the answer is no. They lose because they were too afraid to hear it. Look at how often this happens. You type the message, delete it, rewrite it, and eventually decide, maybe I shouldn't ask. We soften our wants until they barely sound like wants anymore. If it's okay, whenever you can, sorry to bother you. And sometimes we ask so quietly that even we don't believe we deserve the answer. But here's the strange part. The opportunity may already be sitting right in front of you. The door isn't necessarily locked, you just haven't turned the handle. Maybe you want the job, the raise, the introduction, the opportunity, the relationship, the chance. But wanting something privately doesn't give the world a reason to respond. At some point, you have to make the invisible visible. You have to say clearly, this is what I want. And that one sentence changes the game. Because then you hear the answer you were afraid of. No, not now. We can't. And suddenly it feels like rejection. But a no is not the same thing as a verdict on you. It is information, nothing more. This is where most people stop. They hear one no and quietly turn it into a story. I'm not good enough. They don't want me. It's never going to happen. But what if the no only closed one door? What if it was simply pointing you toward the next question? Because getting what you want isn't about asking once and magically receiving it. It starts with learning how to ask well. A strong ask is three things: clear, specific, and direct. Not a paragraph of excuses, not a cloud of hints, a real request. Instead of saying, I'd love to work with you someday, say what you actually want. I'd like to work with you on this project. Is there an opportunity available? Now the other person has something they can actually answer. And notice what happens when you ask directly. You stop making the other person guess what you want. You create a real conversation. Your job is not to control their answer. Your job is to make your request clear enough that a real answer becomes possible. But there's another piece people miss. People are more willing to give when they understand the value of giving. So don't only say what you want, show what you bring. If you're asking for an opportunity, explain the problem you can solve, the results you can create, or the value you can add. The energy changes from, please choose me, to, here's what I can contribute. One sounds desperate, the other sounds like a conversation between equals. And even after doing everything right, you will still hear no. That's why the real skill isn't getting everyone to say yes. It's becoming someone who can hear no without collapsing. If one person says no, you have options. Ask again later. Ask differently. Ask someone else. Change the offer. Improve your value. Try another door. A person who knows how to ask doesn't stand outside one closed door forever. They keep moving. And sometimes the best way to get what you want isn't to talk more, it's to listen better. Ask questions. Find out what the other person actually needs. Because persuasion isn't about pushing someone into giving you something. It's about finding the overlap between what you want and what they value. And here's the part that changes everything. You have to separate your worth from the answer. You can be valuable and still be told no. You can be talented and still not be chosen. You can make a perfect request and still hear nothing. But none of that changes who you are. It only tells you what happened in that particular moment with that particular person through that particular door. So ask anyway. Ask for the meeting. Ask for the opportunity. Ask for the price you actually want. Ask for the chance. Not because you're guaranteed a yes, but because asking creates possibilities that silence never can. And eventually, something strange happens. You stop being afraid of the answer. You realize the power was never in getting everyone to say yes. The power was in becoming brave enough to ask. So if there's something you want, Don't stand outside the door building stories about why it won't open. Knock. Ask clearly. Accept the answer. And if it's no, find another door. Because sometimes the life you want is waiting on the other side of one very simple word. Ask.